My sister and I were staying at my aunt's house right after my grandma passed away. While my sister slept, I stayed on my phone for a bit. As I rolled over on my side, I felt a sting on my leg that was near the edge of the bed. When I touched my thigh, I could feel raised marks and it was burning. I went to the bathroom to see what happened and noticed 4 claw marks that scraped down my thigh, going in a direction that I couldn't have made myself. My heart started pounding, but I decided to tell myself I must have scratched myself so I could calm down and fall asleep. The next morning, I told my sister about the marks, and my aunt overheard. Her face turned white, and she told me that my cousin used to see weird, evil things in that house when he was little, but she never believed him. I noped right out of that house and haven't been back since.
Number 2.
2 years ago, I was half asleep when I felt like I was being pulled off my bed by my legs. Suddenly, I shot straight up and started violently choking. It took me a few minutes to catch my breath, and it was so bad my mom woke up to check on me. Here's the scariest part. The next morning, my mom said she didn't remember my coughing fit, but she told me she had a dream that the devil was trying to pull me away from her. What the fuck?
Number 3.
I was at my boyfriend's apartment, waiting for him to come home. His place was in the attic of an old house that used to be a hospital, and was just a large open space with a door on one side and the bed on the other. I was asleep, facing the wall, when I heard the door open and the creaking of footsteps. I noticed it got really cold, though it was summer. When the footsteps got to the bed, they stopped. I asked my boyfriend how his night was, but there was no response. I rolled over, and no one was there. But his cat was staring into the darkness with his back arched and fur standing on end. I grabbed my stuff and sat in the car until he got back. Then I made him drive me back home because there was no way I was staying there.
Number 4.
I was a kid sleeping in my brother's room while mine was getting painted. His closet doors were mirrors, and when I woke up in the night, I saw a silhouette of a girl staring at her reflection while on the edge of my bed. Her hair was pulled back. She wore a cream shirt and a long pink skirt and looked like she was made of TV static. I was excited because I believed in ghosts and was happy to see one. I said, "Hello?" but was not prepared for her face. Her eyes were huge, and she was pulsing her lips in a kiss position, like a fish. It was terrifying. She lifted her hand and reached for me, but I screamed. My dad ran in with a baseball bat and turned on the light. She was gone. Don't sleep in a room with mirrors.
Number 5.
In 2003, my mom woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. She walked into the hallway and looked toward the living room. And there on the couch was her mother, who died in 1985, staring straight ahead. The couch was facing the window, not the hallway, so her mother wasn't looking at her, but she could see her profile perfectly. In shock, my mom went into the bathroom. When she came back out, her mother was still sitting there, unmoving. She went back to bed. I asked her why she didn't go down the hallway, and she said, "My mother was scary enough when she was alive. I didn't want to see her dead."
Number 6.
My dad and stepmom moved into a 200-year-old log cabin. During one of my early visits, as I was waking up, I was 100% certain that someone had come into the room and sat down on the bed. The mattress felt like it was weighed down, and I thought it was one of my sisters about to bug me to get up, so I rolled over. I was ready to tell them off, but was shocked that no one was there. It was the weirdest feeling. When I told my family what happened, they weren't too surprised. A 200-year-old cabin, you know? People died in there.
Number 7.
My parents built our house across from a graveyard. When I was 11, I started to see and hear weird things in the house, like apparitions of a little girl named Mary and our uncle that died the year before I was born. One morning, I woke up before my dad, as usual, to catch the bus. I always turned on every light in the house so I could see into every room clearly. When I entered the kitchen that morning, there was an apparition of a bald, shirtless man sitting cross-legged in the middle of the kitchen floor. He smiled, stood up, and approached me like he'd been waiting. I screamed and stumbled backward, turning on a chandelier. There was a blue flash of light, and he was gone. Years later, I finally told my sister about my experiences, not knowing if she'd ever seen anything. She told me that not long after we moved in, she used a Ouija board. She talked to a little girl named Mary and our dead uncle. Mary warned her a bad man was coming and they needed to leave. They did not heed her wishes.
Number 8.
My office is in a Queen Anne style house built in 1893. It gets very creepy at night, especially when you're alone. One night, I was alone closing up and was setting the alarm pad, which is next to the basement door. I always make sure that no one else is in the building before I leave, and was positive I was the only one left. As I started to set the alarm, I heard whispering coming from behind the basement door. I moved closer and couldn't make out words, but it sounded like female voices. I thought someone was maybe still there, so I called out, "Hello?" And the whispers immediately stopped. It chilled me to the bone. I walked with my back to the exit, eyes fixed on the basement door, and booked it out of there. Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in for tonight's episode. First and foremost, I do sincerely apologize for the long absence since my last video. As I've stated in the last video, I just needed to take a mental health break for myself and from everything, hobbies alike, storytelling, just to kind of clear my head. I actually got back from vacation with my family, had a great time, time off work. It was very much needed. And I just want to thank all of the fans that reached out to me via email or comments on my older videos, just asking for my return and hoping that I've been well, and telling me that I can just take a break whenever I need it, because everyone needs a mental health break. And hearing things like that just makes me feel good, because I don't even know you guys personally, and hearing those kind of words, just, it really makes me feel special. So I do want to thank you personally for taking out your time just to say something like that. So thank you. And this upload, I know that some of you may or may not enjoy it as much because they're shorter stories. Me personally, I like them because they get straight to the point, and sometimes some of the shortest stories are the most creepy. So this is why sometimes I put out these compilation videos, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. For sure, next week I will be uploading a new story that I've obtained, so please stay tuned for that. And again, thank you. I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.